You been to any good parades recently?
Parades are so back, man. We had America's 250th, the Army's 250th parade. We had a big July 4th parade. And guess what? Our friends out east, China, Russia, North Korea, they wanted in on the action, Ben. They didn't like seeing the U.S. stomp around and parade military gear. So this happened last week. We saw all sorts of military materiel, equipment paraded through the streets of China, along with a pretty stark image, which was Chinese leader Xi, Russian President Putin, Kim Jong-un, all together coming up the stairway here. Look, these three guys, we've seen them at conference tables. We've seen them at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We've seen them at meetings. We haven't really seen them look like guys who were talking about war at this level before. That's a little disturbing. What do you make of that parade, Ben?
I make nothing of it. Execution is all that matters. We say it again and again. This looked like a fun time parade. I'm sure someone will freak out and overreact to the imagery. But do I have larger concerns about these countries working together? Absolutely. This could be a huge national security problem. But is the concern manifested in the moment of the parade of having any significance? No. I think this is just a parade.
Yeah, funny enough, you saw in the cryon there, one of the stories out of this was that they caught them on a hot mic talking about immortality and how you could do organ transplants. Interestingly enough, organ transplants are banned in China, I believe. And so President Xi was talking to President Putin about how, oh, yeah, you could just get younger organs. You may never die. That rubs some people the wrong way. Some folks saying, yeah, but what do you expect? These guys they're autocratic leaders. Of course they want to live forever. She's suspended the Constitution. She's had more terms than anyone. Putin's been in power, I think, now longer than Stalin. These people, they love power. They love life for themselves. They're going to want to live forever. The question I have in looking at this is, what have we done as the United States that has pushed or pulled away from this point, right? Now, were we ever going to be allies with Kim Jong-un? No, I don't think so, even though Trump walked over the line and all that kind of good photo op stuff. Were we ever really going to be allies with Putin in World War II scenario like we were last time? It doesn't seem like it right now. But the reality is there are things that we can do to accelerate this kind of this deepening of ties on their part and things that we can do to stop them. And I'm not sure that our policies have done a really good job of preventing us getting to this point. And frankly, the momentum is behind closer ties on their front. We're not doing anything to fracture that relationship or, crucially, to give them off-ramps from this relationship or needing it. And there's a little bit of schizophrenia where it's, okay, we're not going to export chips, and then now we are going to export chips. And from their perspective, is self-reliance and closer ties with folks that they can count on to be staunchly anti-American or anti-U.S. It seems to be the safer option. Any ideas on what we could be doing to prevent this, or does it just truly not matter? Now you're muted.
I think it's twofold, right? You need the carrot and the stick. The stick is a lot of the stuff we talk about when it comes to the Department of War, but the carrot can be, how do we find ways to work together, right? How do we find mutually beneficial agreements, whether it's around trade, whether it's around working together on issues where we're aligned. So I don't have the answer, otherwise I'd be in the State Department or in the Department of War more fully working on these issues. But no, I don't have any.
Well, we do have the National Defense Strategy in the works. There's some leaks starting to come out within the next week or two. We could be doing a deep dive here on the Seam Zone to see how we're going to attack this as a nation. So stay tuned on that one. Let's go ahead and close that tab.